Prosser's latest video, Fintiv's latest lawsuit, and a new Apple book on the horizon. This is MacVoices. This MacVoices is supported by the Insta360 Go Ultra, the camera that goes everywhere with you. Visit store.insta360.com and the promo code MacVoices to get a free set of sticky tabs. This next one, I don't even know what to say about this. John Prosser, we talked about this, it was either last week or the week before, about John Prosser being sued by Apple for his methods of acquiring information on the upcoming version of the OSs. And so what does John do? John releases a new video for the iPhone, the upcoming features on the new iPhone. And now from what I've read, and believe me, I do not pay that. In fact, I pay very little attention to all the rumored things because they come, they go. It might be there, it might not be there. From what I've read, it sounds like this video includes pretty much all of them as, what may be in the new iPhone. But I have to wonder where his defense counsel was when he decided to do this. I'm baffled.
Apparently he's not too worried about it. And I'm with you, Chuck. I try not to follow the rumors, especially on iPhone. At least I don't cover it on my show. That make sure that I'll wait till it gets closer before we're really ready to start talking about it. But yeah, it's interesting. Apparently he's not too worried about it if he just goes ahead and releases this too. But I mean, it's on YouTube, so could Apple ask for them to have it taken down? It's possible, but it's still there. So that's baffling why he did that.
His lawyers already told him it's safe to rent his video.
Must have.
I think it's the opposite. I think his lawyers told him that's a stupid thing to do, but he did it anyway.
Okay, that's equally plausible.
Sounds like lawyers.
Yeah. Yeah.
What? The guy that's in the corner office says one thing, the guy that's down the hall says the other, is in the same firm. Is that what you're saying, Jim?
No. But, lawyers are just whatever it is, they're going to say, don't do it. Right?
Yeah.
Safer.
I do think, Apple is suing him because supposedly he participated or in a break-in, basically. So I don't think this, video is going to, he's not going to make that go away by not making a video. Right? It's like, oh yeah, I did, burglarized this, or whatever, to this, but now I'm not making a video. So it's all good, right? So it probably doesn't make any difference to the legal case.
The only thing is that if he's basing this on existing leaks, nothing he found out, but existing leaks, existing rumors and all, then it probably, other than just making him look questionably intelligent, I don't know, part of me says it's like waving a red flag in front of a bull, and another part says, what difference does it make? Because he would have made this anyway, as long as he didn't include anything that hasn't been rumored outside of the rumor mill.
But I would say, what if he did, whatever he supposedly did illegally and didn't tell anybody about it? Well, it would still be illegal and Apple could sue him, right? It's not like, if you burglarize somebody's house, but you don't tell anybody. Well, that's normal practice for burglars. Right? Or criminals in general, right? It's only the really stupid criminals that are like, oh yeah, I did this and here's a video of what I did. You generally want to keep that on the QT. This is sort of different because the whole point was to, for publicity, but it's not the telling people that is a legal problem. It's the actions that he did. Not that I'm saying this was smart or whatever, but it probably doesn't affect the legal. It's not going to make it better or worse, I would think.
Dave?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at this video, it's not even affiliated with him. It's from a site called Front Page Tech or FPT. So he obviously linked back to this this leak on YouTube, and this also has this place has an X presence on there as well. So would that go against him, because even though he's linking back to it, it's not his content.
Jeff?
His claim is that he had nothing to do with obtaining this, right? Isn't that what he's saying?
No, he grabbed this right from this YouTube channel.
No, but he, the Apple story is that he participated in an illegal activity in getting, this information off of some employee or whatever.
Right.
And I believe he has said, yeah, I didn't do that. Right. And that is his story. So, well, if he didn't do it, then okay, Apple, presumably Apple has some evidence that he did it, and that's what'll get argued in court. But I don't think the court case is not going to be, well, Judge, here's this evidence of this and this and this. Oh, and he also did a YouTube video. Well, so what?
Jeff?
This one's going to be fun. Keep in mind, Apple does have in its skeletons tucked away in its closet incidents where websites have been shut down because Apple didn't like what they were covering. So Apple can litigate him into dust if they want, and they may choose to do so. And it doesn't matter if he did participate in some sort of illegal or prohibited activity to gain the information for the first story that he posted. It doesn't matter that all he's doing is reporting on what someone else, or offering his opinion on what someone else is reporting for the second video. This just comes down to how Apple is feeling right now, and whether or not they just want to shut this guy down because they're done with him.
Think Secret was the one that Apple got.
Think Secret.
Think Secret.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow, forgot about that.
Yeah,
I did not. Just couldn't remember their name, sadly.
Again, another one to watch or not. At some point, I don't know. Again, I just don't have time for leakers or rumors or whatever. So if you do, good for you. But I do think that there is something to be said for the fact that they can do damage to an organization like Apple or Microsoft or Google, anybody that makes a big deal out of releasing their products, because they kill the excitement, they kill the promotion, they kill all of those things by putting that information out there. And they also create false expectations, because then when the actual product gets released and it didn't include some of those things, well, then it was obviously a failure, or obviously the company couldn't do what we thought maybe they could do, would do, should do. So,
Hey, Chuck. Everything you just said, I think is totally fair. Except for the part about we shouldn't care about cases like this. The reason we should care, general public, it doesn't matter. We should care because this is Apple potentially exerting a control over a space that we wouldn't want them to control. Sure, it's a rumor today, but tomorrow is it a case where maybe we're all being critical of some decision Apple has made, and they don't like hearing that? So are they going to come and grind you into the ground through the legal system?
Jeff, I see those as two very different things, because if in your scenario, we would be expressing opinions. Here, these aren't opinions. They are rumors sometimes presented as borderline facts or presented in a fashion that would make you believe that somebody knows something. And if we criticize Apple, well, last week we had a nice little discussion about the new AirDrop icon. Okay, so you had your opinion, other people had their opinion, I have my opinion. We are free to share those opinions. But there was no leak. There was no leaking. There was no, anything of that nature that would damage Apple's presentation of the new OS. So I understand your point, and I don't. And by the way, it's not that I don't care about this case. I don't care about the leakers, except for the damage they do. Then I care very much. But I think the example you drew is one that's just, there is a bit of a difference.
You're right. There is a difference. However, the end result can be the same. So if we look at it in a very generalized sense, Apple doesn't like something that's being reported. Now, that could be because people are out there with the whole rumor mill, or it could be because people are reporting something that Apple doesn't want them to report, or they're reporting it in a way that Apple doesn't like. Okay, I'll give you a firsthand example. Do you remember years ago when there was the Sony battery burning problem in MacBooks or PowerBooks, whatever it was at the time? So I write an article saying, hey, here's what's going on. And these batteries manufactured by Sony for Apple have the potential to actually combust. So Apple reaches out to me and says, hey, there's a problem with this article. And you're saying here that these batteries can potentially combust, which was factually correct. And they said, we want you to change the wording to, it was something far less, dare I say, inflammatory, because it was like something like they have the potential to overheat, excessively overheat, reach excessive temperature, something like that, where you're not actually saying fire. And so I replied back and said, if I've got this wrong, I want to make sure it's right because I want correct information for our audience. Please give me the information showing that these batteries do not, in fact, catch fire or have the potential to catch fire. And it was immediate radio silence. Shortly after that was Macworld. And that was back in the days when Apple was vetting who got media passes for a conference that they didn't run. And I was blacklisted. And I could not get a media pass to that conference that year. So that is one small example, and one that in the grand scheme of things had very little lasting repercussion, except that I still remember that's a thing Apple did. And I've heard from other people who have said, yeah, if they don't like what you say, they are more than happy to screw you over. Now, whether or not that is still true or not, I don't know. But it tells me we should all be watching how they respond to all these different kinds of things, whether it's rumor or not, and pay attention. Because if there are patterns where this is a thing, okay, maybe we should be talking about that when it happens.
No, that's a fair point. I mean, in that case, Apple, in my opinion, was in the wrong.
I agree. They were in the wrong.
If they had the information, should have presented it to you, and then you would have made your own decision. But to go radio silent and then retaliate or appear to retaliate, no, that's not acceptable.
Yeah, and in that case, it wasn't that I was wrong. I was not. It was a case of they didn't like that I was telling people this battery could catch on fire. They didn't want fire as a word in the article, so they wanted me to change the article. I didn't get a pass, and here we are.
Yeah. No, good point. I like that example as to make your point a lot better than the other one. So you win.
Yay.
Today's edition of MacVoices is supported by our friends at Insta360, the makers of some of the most innovative cameras you can put in your pocket. Their newest model, the Go Ultra, takes wearable and portable video to a whole new level. Picture this, a camera barely bigger than a cookie, weighing less than 2 ounces, that can record buttery smooth 4K at 60 frames per second. It's built for action, travel, vlogging, or just capturing everyday life without juggling bulky gear. One of the best features is the magnetic mounting system. Clip it to your shirt, your cap, or a backpack strap, and suddenly you've got a natural, hands-free point of view. Or stick it on almost any metal surface for an angle you'd never get with a traditional setup. It's creativity without the tripod. The upgraded sensor really shines, especially in low light. Whether it's indoors, a late evening walk, or night shots in the city, you get still, crisp detail. And if you're worried about durability, it's waterproof down to 33 feet, so you can take it swimming or out in the rain without hesitation. Battery life is impressive too. The camera alone runs long enough for most outings, and paired with the action pack, you can stretch it for hours. And with quick charging, a short break is enough to get you most of the way back to full power. If you want a camera that's tiny, versatile, and always ready when life happens, the Insta360 Go Ultra is worth a serious look. Head over to store.insta360.com, use the promo code MacVoices, and for a limited time, you'll also get a bonus set of sticky tabs to help mount the Go Ultra anywhere. The Insta360 Go Ultra, small size, big possibilities. Insta360.com and the code MacVoices. Thanks to Insta360 for supporting MacVoices. I'm throwing this one in for 2 different reasons. This is Apple's pushing back on Fintiv's, I think I'm pronouncing that right, their latest litigious attempt to profit off Apple Pay. And you know how I feel about lawsuits. But I put this one in not just for the fact that this seems to be yet another frivolous attempt to extort Apple, but I wanted to commend 9to5Mac for their timeline. If you scroll to the bottom of the article, they put together a very nice little timeline of the activities surrounding this situation, what Apple's done and what the courts have done and other related parties and what Fintiv has done. And I applaud this. I think we should have more of this when it comes to the lawsuits or a lot of other things, because I really do believe it helps keep things in perspective. I would love for somebody to put together a Spotify timeline like this, or some of the UK things that we've talked about here for the past months, and put together these kind of timelines, because it really does start to show, like who won which battle, who retaliated, who tried to do this, who tried to manipulate that. So, the Fintiv, they have a record here of losing, and they just keep on trying and keep on trying. Meanwhile, they're having financial issues of their own, not necessarily related to the lawsuit. But I love the timeline. So, Brian, I see you shaking your head.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is really useful. In this specific case, it's very telling on how one-sided it is too, as far as victories. When you were mentioning the other companies, I think Epic is another good one to be able to, and that one would have obviously more complication, with different, wins and concessions on different sides.
Yeah, each week we try to look at some of these things, and we try to keep in mind the long term, but we're focused on exactly what the activity is of the moment. And so I would love these. Would love a timeline of some of these things, so that we could all be a little more measured and objective in our judgment. Marty?
Yeah. In the article, one of the things that makes me question the company's motivation, and maybe Webb can give a little background in terms of, or some thoughts on this, but they also tried to sue PayPal over 5 patents in 2022, and all of those were unsuccessful, essentially. And it just seems like they're casting a net in all kinds of directions to catch a patent or to try and claim patent infringement. But they've got to be chewing up a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of lawyers doing that instead of focusing on the product or whatever their business is. I don't think their business is litigation. So I just question how companies can survive with this kind of perspective.
Webb, you want to take on Marty's challenge?
I don't know the particulars of this case, and I just tried to look up Fintiv, and they don't have a page on Wikipedia that I could find. So they're not that big if they don't even trip the Wikipedia wire. So there have been class action lawsuits filed in the Southern District of Texas for a long time. If you may recall, 5-7 years ago, there was a big lawsuit about podcasting. And Adam Carolla was someone who I used to listen to. I don't listen to him much anymore, but and he was tagged on this. I also think Leo Laporte was as well, but don't quote me on that. It's class action lawsuits, and it's in a friendly court in a friendly district in Texas. And it's interesting that they've come after Apple several times, and from what I understand, they've lost every time that they've tried to take Apple to court. The question about why are they doing this? It begs the question, what's insanity, but doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. So there's some insanity going on here because they're not getting what they want. Why do the lawyers keep doing it? They think that there's a payday if they trip the right trigger and things fall their way. That's my take on it. So yeah, it's Southern District of Texas class action litigation. Now they've also gone to Georgia. I don't know anything about Georgia. I can tell you some things about Alabama. Alabama had some issues with class action lawsuit, and there was a very famous BMW case where somebody owned a BMW car, and there was something about they didn't like, and Alabama. They went to a court in Alabama, and it got to be to the point that just about, because there was an insurance-related case, that every insurance company was about to bail out of the state of Alabama. And one of the things that insurance companies do provide is premium tax revenue. And all of a sudden, the state of Alabama got religion, and they decided to negate the trial. And all of a sudden, the insurance companies decided they weren't going to leave there. So anyway, craziness, just craziness.
Is it only me, but anytime I hear that a district is friendly or unfriendly to something, it disturbs me, because it should be a court of law. Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, a court of law, and I don't know that that just seems so wrong. And the fact that they have developed this reputation and seem to continue to reinforce the reputation, that doesn't mean I want them to swing back the other way to try to kill the reputation. But it just seems like for some of the things we've all seen that came out of that district, it's yeah.
I will add in Apple's case, Apple is a huge target. They have plenty of money. They could drop a couple million just to get something to go away if they wanted to. Now they don't want to be an easy defendant either, so they won't do that. But I think that's one of the things that, as we talked about in friendly courts, I think that's one of the things that happens. Like I said, Apple's a big target, and they'll pay for it to go away. But they haven't done that. I'm sure they have. The thing is that there are plenty of lawsuits that Apple gets served, I'm sure, several times a day, literally several times a day. And sometimes they'll think that something is maybe has a little bit of merit to it, so they'll try to settle it quietly. But there are also times where they're just going to say, this is ridiculous, and they'll fight it to the death because it's going to take a lot to kill them.
Jeff?
Oh, crap. Now I can't remember which comment this was in relation to. But anyhow, I just want to point out that bench shopping is a thing that happens all the time for court cases. You have a civil case, you want to find the sympathetic judge in whatever district that is, and you find that judge, and then you figure out how you can legit file your case in that court and get in front of that judge's bench. Bench shopping.
The way the world works.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately. Anybody else have any thoughts on this before we move on? Okay. We're going to circle back to AI, now more of a general AI thing, but sort of related. You can run a ChatGPT style AI on your Mac with OpenAI's new offline tools. I have not tried this yet. I really want to try to make some time to do this just to see what it looks like and how it feels and see what kind of things it comes up with, especially if I take something and then throw at it and compare that to the real ChatGPT. From what I have read, it's much slower, big surprise, but I still would like to know what it is, because if I'm running it on my machine, then I've got a much, much, much better chance of keeping what I'm doing private. Has anybody, Marty, I know you play with everything like this. Have you done anything with this yet?
I haven't done anything with this yet, but what interests me, and I know Jeff turned me onto this a couple of years ago, that there are some kind of on-device AI systems that you can put together. But the article talks about that customization opens new possibilities for privacy-focused apps. So if you're, working in a medical or mental health system, it allows you to kind of keep all that information contained on your system and not out in the metaverse for people to have access to. That sounds appealing. This could very well be a product that could be bought and customized for privacy-based companies to be able to have AI assistance without having to worry about it leaking.
That's a big industry.
Yeah.
And Marty, you hit on a couple key markets for that.
Key markets, yeah. But how about just those of us who, and I will put myself in that category to some degree, would like to do certain things with an AI that right now I would rather not send that information out into the world. But if I could manipulate it internally with something that I had some kind of reasonable assurance of security, I might take a shot at it.
LM Studio.
Jeff, I know, you've talked about that before. And how do you, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at this one, but I mean, how does that compare with something like this?
Okay, so LM Studio is like the framework, and then you put the models into it. So what I haven't had time to see yet is if I can go and grab one of these models and load it directly into LM Studio. And if so, I expect that it would perform on par with the other various models that I have loaded and worked with locally. So it ultimately, I think, would depend on what exactly am I expecting the model to do for me. And in some cases, the performance may be on par with what I would get with online experience through a browser, and other times probably not.
I haven't heard you mention LM Studio for a while. In fact, I didn't even know it was still a thing.
Oh, it's a big thing.
Is it? Okay, because to circle back to what we said earlier, this space is moving so fast, and I didn't pay it probably as much attention as I should have to it when it was at the top of the news. So I had no idea if it's continued to develop beyond just being, something that people tinker with, or if it is becoming a real thing.
So, Chuck, I just launched LM Studio, and it said, "Hey, there's an update." So I installed the update, let it reboot, and the first thing it does is I should just take a screenshot of this so you have it. There you go. It gives me a pop-up in the middle of the window that says OpenAI GPT OSS 20B is available for download. Do you want to do it? I'm going to download it right now.
Okay.
So there you go.
All right. Well, then we know that it works in LM Studio. And Marty put something in and said, yeah, it's also, yes. So I will be most anxious to see what happens and what you think of it. But now there's one more thing on my list of things to do.
Well, Chuck, at least this one doesn't cost you money, because LM Studio is a tool that's out there, the open source. Just if you want to make donations to help support the project, you can, but you don't have to spend money.
Every Tuesday night, I get homework. I don't understand how this works. It's my show, and I get homework. Blast from the past. David Pogue has announced that he is going to do a book, Apple: The First 50 Years, that's available for pre-order now. If for some of the viewers who may not be as long in the tooth as most of us here in the Apple world, David Pogue was the man, back in the day. And he went on to do a lot of tech reporting and a lot of more general journalistic things with a tech bent. But he was one of the most important journalists in the Mac universe. And so I think it's interesting. If there's anybody that could have a really great perspective on it, it's David, to put something like this together. So I'm anxious to learn more about it and see what it looks like, and just who he gets to talk to and how he presents the 50-year history. But it's something I wanted to put on everybody's radar, because it might make a nice Christmas gift, even though it's not supposed to come out until March 2026.
Yeah, so it's after Christmas.
Yeah,
of course, he was well known in the Apple world of
Christmas gift, Chuck.
Well, pre-order, Jim. Pre-order. Dave?
I said, of course, he was known for the Missing Manual series, and those were his bread and butter for a long time. And those were great books. I bought plenty of those books over the years. So he was great in the Apple world. This looks like a really cool book. I think any of us as Apple enthusiasts as we are definitely going to want this book when it comes out next year. In fact, on Facebook, I think it was today, I just saw that there was a bunch of pictures that he sent out, and he's trying to see how he can get the copyright, allowing him to publish these photos. There were some old photos of Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak and a number of other older Apple employees. So he's going out asking people on Facebook, and can you help me find? And I always trust the internet to find who can authorize these as a copyright, if these photos are copyrighted or not, if he can use them in the book. So he obviously still working on it. So, but it's great he's got at least he has a bookmarker until when it's going to come out. But I can't wait to see. I'm pretty excited to to be able to read this book.
Yeah, the Kindle version I think is $37. I went ahead and pre-ordered that. It's like 14% discount or something. But even the I would want to say hardcover, but the paper-bound version of it is like $50. So I was torn between which one to pre-order. Which one will I carry around and read versus, I've got all the Cult of Mac books that are nice coffee table books. And I can imagine probably buying both, the Kindle so I can read it, and the paper-bound version so I can have it laid out somewhere.
All your friends will be jealous.
Friends?
The people that come by your house, Marty.
People come by my house?
The police. He's talking about the police, Marty.
Police. Okay. All right. All right.
Chuck, I think we've got a Zoom bomber.
Oh boy.
It's It's vaguely relevant to this. I've been to David Pogue's house.
Oh, really?
Yep. It was a nice house.
Personally.
Hmm?
And I hired him as a speaker.
It was in Connecticut. It was on Long Island Sound.
Hmm.
It was very nice. At the time, he was married to a surgeon.
Wow.
But I didn't meet her.
You said, Webb, you had him as a speaker?
Yeah.
For your company?
Yeah, it was right after the iPhone came out. And he's also, before he started doing this tech thing, he was a professional musician, and did a lot of work.
Theater. He was in theater.
Yeah, on Broadway. Yeah. So, so he and I are, we're like this. So, but he was very nice and gave a great speech, and the audience, a bunch of insurance agents, were just fascinated by what he does. Now, I did have to have a Steinway grand piano on stage for him. So, and it was during the time of Dongle City, and he showed when he was on stage all these different dongles that he had connected. I mean, it was a chain of them. It was a foot long. I thought that was kind of funny too. So, but he very good speaker, and he does the stuff for CBS Morning, and before that he was doing a lot of stuff on PBS as well. So
yes,
Yeah,
CBS Sunday Morning.
Yeah, he's been on the show. He got his start in writing at his local Mac user group, and it sort of went from there. And he was one of the featured presenters at least one, maybe two or three user group universities that I was involved with. So, again, if you don't know who David Pogue is, check it out. A lot of the things he wrote, obviously, were back then and aren't necessarily relevant now. But he also has the perspective of someone that was, in some of those inner circles, or at least close to the inner circles back in the day. Marty, I can't let the comment you put in our private chat go. Would you like to confess that, or do you want me to read it?
You guys are talking about David Pogue, and I'm feeling kind of left out. He didn't come to my house. I didn't go to his house. I didn't invite him as a speaker. Yeah, so I had to put my thing
Why
in.
do we even let you on this show?
Yeah, I know.
So
because of this comment.
Yeah, you
That's
bought Joni
why.
Mitchell a martini?
Yeah, it was the first Farm Aid. And the radio station I worked for, we had a pre-Farm Aid party, and we had the record reps there. And I was music director at the station, and somebody came up to me and said, Joni Mitchell's at the door. And I said, what is she doing at the door? And I said, go get her. So I got her, and she was looking for her company record rep. And I said, he's not here, but I think he's supposed to be here. Let me take you over to the bar. And I told everybody to leave her alone. And I said, what would you like? And she said, I want a martini. So I bought her a martini.
You talked to her too?
Yeah. Take that, David Pogue.
Did you talk to her?
Yeah. I mean, no, because I wanted to give her privacy as much, other than talking to her and explaining what was going on here and what record reps we had seen there thus far. I said, I'm going to let people, inform people to kind of let you be she was with some friend. I don't know who it was. And I said, I'm going to let you just kind of enjoy the peace and quiet here. And I kept, all the drooling radio disc jockeys away from her wanting to, I really like blue.
Those disc jockeys, I've been around a few. I know how they are.
You don't get programming like this anywhere else, folks.
No, you don't.
Here on MacVoices Live. This is it. This is it.
Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you Mac Voices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.